Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Markets Think Simple. Quick question, does anyone still play PUBG? Surprisingly, this game came out in 2017, it's 9 years old, and right now, at this very moment, hundreds of thousands of people around the world are logged in. Yesterday too, the day before that, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, same story. And the company behind this one game pulled in over $2.3 billion in revenue in 2025 alone, with operating profit crossing $730 million. That company is Krafton. So how exactly is Krafton making this kind of money off a single game? Why are people still logging into this old title and spending real money on it? And can Krafton actually keep growing from here? Today, we're going to walk through how one game built an entire company and what that company is doing to prepare for what comes next. This video is not investment advice, it's for educational, entertainment, informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before making any investment decisions. Any investment decisions are your own responsibility. First, let's talk about what PUBG actually is. At its core, it's simple. 100 players drop into a battlefield and the last one standing wins. The match starts with everyone on a plane flying over a massive map. You pick your spot, jump out, and parachute down. When you land, you have nothing, so you run around looting, grabbing weapons, gear, vehicles, whatever you can find. But here's the twist. Over time, a safe zone starts shrinking. Stay outside it and you take damage, so everyone gets pushed toward the center. Players who started miles apart are eventually forced into the same tight space. And when it's all over, one person or one team is left standing. And when that moment hits, anyone who's played the game knows exactly what flashes on the screen. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The rules are simple, and that simplicity is exactly what grabbed the entire world. When it launched in 2017, technically in early access, it sold 1 million copies in just 16 days. By 2018, it set an all-time Steam record with 3.25 million concurrent players. That record still stands. Most games fade after a few years. PUBG is on its second wind. In 2022, Krafton made it free to play, and that turned out to be a game-changing call. The barrier to entry disappeared, the player count exploded, and the game recently crossed 1 million concurrent players again. So how does a free game make billions? The answer is skins. Outfits for your character, weapon wraps, car designs, cosmetic items that change how you look, but do absolutely nothing for your gameplay. They won't make you aim better, they won't help you win. So why do people spend money on them? It comes down to a few things. First, self-expression. Your character is a kind of alter ego, and nobody wants to walk around in the default outfit. Then there's the flex factor. Rare skins signal to other players that you've been around, that you've invested in the game. Collaborations tap into something deeper too. PUBG has worked with Blackpink, G-Dragon, New Jeans, Espa, and luxury car brands like Bugatti, Lamborghini, and Porsche. When you mix fandom with limited time availability, get it now or never, wallets open fast. And then there's the collector mentality. Skins aren't real assets, but inside the game, they feel like a personal collection. Over time, a veteran account accumulates rank history, stats, friends, items. That makes it harder and harder to just walk away. That's the real reason a 9-year-old game is still thriving. Each season brings new modes, new mechanics, new skins, and fresh collabs, so it never feels like a relic. It keeps feeling like a live service. PUBG also holds its own in esports. As of 2025, the PC tournament draws over 800,000 global viewers, and the mobile tournament pulls in over 1.3 million. That's not Fortnite numbers, but it shows the game still has a competitive community and a real fan base. So, with players still logging in, buying skins, and watching tournaments, how much is PUBG actually making for Krafton? The numbers are pretty striking. In 2025, Krafton posted $2.3 billion in revenue and $730 million in operating profit. And here's the key part. Roughly 90% of that revenue came from a single IP, PUBG. A 9-year-old game is still carrying the weight of the entire company. That structure has real strength. The game has held onto its player base for years, and the steady flow of skin sales keep revenue consistent. Even after going free-to-play in 2022, the top line barely flinched, which says a lot about how loyal this community is. But it's also Krafton's biggest vulnerability. If interest in PUBG ever drops sharply, the whole company feels it. That level of dependence on one title is a structural risk, especially over the long run. There's another trend worth noting. Operating margins have been compressing. Krafton used to run margins above 40%. In 2025, that figure came in at 31.6%. Revenue is up, but profit isn't growing at the same pace. Two main reasons for that. First, spending on new IP development has increased significantly. Building games like inZOI means growing headcount and ramping up marketing, both of which add costs. Second, keeping PUBG running isn't free either. The game still needs regular content updates and ongoing esports support to stay relevant. The picture that emerges is a company actively balancing stable, recurring cash flows against the cost of building its future. PUBG keeps the lights on, but how Krafton deploys that cash is what determines where things go from here. Which raises the obvious question, what's next? And are the bets Krafton has been making actually paying off? Krafton has been searching for its post-PUBG moment for a long time now. Looking at the track record, honestly, the results have been mixed at best. Mistover, a turn-based RPG released in 2019, didn't last long and was eventually taken offline. Elion, which was supposed to showcase Krafton's MMORPG roots, fell flat in both Korea and global markets and shut down early. The biggest stumble was the Callisto Protocol, Krafton's ambitious push into AAA console and PC gaming. Development costs reportedly exceeded $160 million. The market expected somewhere around 5 million copies sold. It didn't get there. The game generated plenty of buzz, but it never became the franchise Krafton needed it to be. The M&A playbook hit similar headwinds. Krafton invested heavily in overseas studios, but the returns haven't been clean. Striking Distinction Studios carries the shadow of the Callisto Protocol. The acquisition of Unknown Worlds, the studio behind Subnautica, came with a significant price tag and then got messy, with disputes over earnout structures and management control leading to legal friction. That took a toll on how the market views Krafton's deal-making judgment. So taken together, neither the in-house new IP strategy nor the acquisition-led growth strategy has produced a clear win yet. But Krafton isn't pulling back. If anything, they're leaning in harder. The company currently has around 26 game projects in various stages of development, with 12 titles targeted for release within the next 2 years. The strategy isn't to bet everything on one title, it's to plant seeds across multiple genres simultaneously. And some of those seeds are starting to show green. The standout is inZOI, a life simulation game that's about as different from PUBG as you can get. Instead of shooting, you build characters, design homes, and live out a virtual life. It sold 1 million copies within a week of its early access launch in 2025, making it the clearest signal yet that Krafton can build a major new IP from scratch. Dark and Darker, mobile has also put up solid numbers in the mobile market, helping reduce the company's reliance on PUBG, and Subnautica 2 is moving quickly in early access, which starts to justify the Unknown Worlds acquisition in a way that wasn't obvious before. Still, the number of projects in the pipeline isn't what matters most. 26 games sounds impressive, but in this industry, volume doesn't guarantee success. The real question is how many of those titles survive long enough to become lasting franchises, the kind that can carry Krafton the way PUBG has for the past decade. All right, let's bring it all together. Krafton is standing at a crossroads between a proven past and an unproven future. PUBG is still an extraordinary cash engine, but the company can't ride one game forever. That's why Krafton keeps building new titles, acquiring studios, and pushing into unfamiliar genres. They haven't found the answer yet, but they're not standing still either. The real test is just beginning. Can Krafton create something that earns a second act the way PUBG earned its first? When that answer arrives, if it does, Krafton stops being just a one-hit wonder and becomes a company with a second story worth telling. Will that day come? That's the question we're all watching play out now. That's everything we have for you today. If you found this useful, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks for watching.